What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Brewed Opinions. We are back after a 2-week hiatus. KT, what's going on?
Oh, not much, man. Just busy with life. You know how it's been. It's been a little hectic couple of weeks for us, but we're back on board after a big night last night.
Yeah,
The
before
road
we
to
get
WrestleMania
before we get started, yeet, we got an unexpected win. We're seeing a lot of hate online about it, but I was going to hate the other way if they went with Cena.
Yeah.
I think there's no reason for Cena to win the Royal Rumble. I think overall it was an okay night. I think they set up a lot. One of the things that we constantly complain about on this show is the direction that the WWE is going. And I think last night they painted a lot of pictures of...
They set up a lot of
things.
Can go in anyway,
yeah.
really, but...
As far as surprise entrants go, not a whole lot happening there outside of Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
But
AJ coming back, I guess, was a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah,
but
AJ
it seemed
Styles.
like he was coming back sometime soon.
yeah, I think a lot of people wanted to see the other AJ, CM Punk's wife, AJ Lee. I thought that was a possibility. But, you know, the fact of the matter is we've got Jey Uso, your Royal Rumble 25 champion. And all indications probably point towards another match with Gunther.
Right. And you're right, too. Like, seeing people being upset about Uso and probably having Gunther Jey at WrestleMania when we just saw them on the Saturday night main event. I thought it was actually cool that Cena put him over. I thought it meant a lot. You could tell even when Cena got in the ring after the match and hugged and what he was saying to him. It must have meant everything in the world to Jey. Like, to have that guy in the business, that level of a star, be the one to...
If you have hate towards the way this outcome, you have to give credit to what Jey Uso has done post Bloodline.
Oh yeah,
he has put himself over. There was no reaction last night of an entrance
like him.
That there was a handful of reactions that you could tell people got. Mm-hmm. Alexa Bliss's return was probably number one.
Yep.
Jey Uso's entrance, and probably Joe Hendry's entrance.
Yeah, he got over big.
I mean, since we've been gone, we've got a new TNA champion. Do you believe? Say his name and he shall appear. I mean, Joe Hendry is the new champion of TNA.
And the new announcement that WWE's full-on partnership with that happened over the last 2 weeks,
yeah,
right?
I mean, mainly with NXT, but you saw a lot of people there last night. A lot of women NXT people last night. Not as many men. I thought we would see a Trick Williams sighting, but
that just goes to show where the numbers are and the different. The WWE main roster is so loaded with. Well, there's not a lot of room for the NXT guys to come up where the women's division isn't as loaded.
Yeah,
and to fill a Royal Rumble, you're going to have more of them up.
Roxanne Perez, the second to last eliminated. I mean, that was
impressive.
One of the things that I disliked about the lead up to Royal Rumble was the announcement of Charlotte Flair being in it. I think it would have been more impactful if she just showed up.
Yeah.
Once she was in it, like you said earlier today, we knew that she was going to win. I mean, I when it was down to who it was down to, there was no way they were going to let Roxanne Perez win.
And as the way the men's was shaping up, we were pretty sure Cena was going to end up winning that fucking thing, and we didn't get the result there.
I was upset. You can ask Kenny. I walked out of the room.
I
didn't want to
so
see
pissed
it.
Off.
I just so especially earlier in the match when he eliminated Logan Paul, like. Logan Paul, John Cena could be really, really good at WrestleMania.
Yeah, one of those little stories they're setting up.
I think that is awesome.
But talking about how loaded the men's roster is and like how many big names, I mean, 3 of the biggest stars all took each other out.
Yeah.
Well, with Logan Paul then eliminating CM Punk. But I mean, here's your 3 guys you think should be headlining WrestleMania. They're out. Where their story is going to go from here. Seth probably is taking a heel turn with that vicious attack on both of them after the match. I would assume.
He's going to... I mean, are we going towards a
Drew McIntyre? Where is he?
Drew McIntyre gets eliminated. Apparently, he was very upset backstage that the elimination didn't go the way it was supposed to go, I heard.
Oh, really?
I don't know what
I think we said that last night. There was something we were like, that wasn't supposed to happen.
It looked a little... there was a part of the match towards when there was maybe 10 guys left, that there was some eliminations.
It's hard to get it all together.
It looked like someone was supposed to catch somebody and they didn't. I think Braun Strowman was supposed to. I can't remember exactly. Braun Strowman looked like he was supposed to catch somebody. I remember you mentioning that. And it was just like, but when that happens in the moment, they just have to move on. Like, did Penta's feet hit?
Right.
I mean, not that he won, but you know,
he was in the match for a long time and would have been out immediately.
Yeah. It was his first ever Royal Rumble. I mean, he did okay.
He's a lot taller too. I think that was what it was. Is like,
and he probably. I mean, I hope he practiced that.
A lot of the Mexican wrestlers, you know, they tend to be on the smaller side. He's quite tall, so like him going over. I mean, it was really close.
It was. I think there was a lot of good moments, a lot of good rivalries. Like when Rey Mysterio came out number 1, you knew number 2 was going to be Penta. Everybody's wanted to see that face to face with the legendary luchador versus the current luchador, like who may be even better than the original. So I thought that moment was good. You had other situations. It was cool that Chad Gable was number 3, and he's got his whole, I need to work on my expertise against luchador wrestlers, and he comes in number 3 with 2 luchadors in the ring. I mean, I thought that they did the right things.
Gable's doing some good stuff.
Gable... I mean, I listened to an interview with Kurt Angle this week on Chris Van Fleet, and it's like he believes that Chad Gable is a future world champion. And I think that the only thing that stands against Chad Gable is his size.
He almost feels like Kurt.
And now the whole crowd is chanting, "You suck."
Yeah, it's awesome, like actually to kind of see, but he really does have that Kurt Angle feel to him, and like even how Kurt could bounce back and forth. I don't know that Chad's ever really been. I guess he was for a while.
A little bit with the shush and the thing.
But I think he's like really starting to grind into like going forward.
Yeah,
he could be a big time player.
Let's kind of analyze this thing from the ending to the forward. I know we kind of been all over the place, but the fact of the matter is Jey Uso is your champion, which I love it. Yeah. I know a lot of people don't love it, but I love it. I think there's no direction other. I mean, it doesn't make any sense for him to go towards Cody.
Yeah, I think he even hinted. I saw in his presser last night something about Gunther.
Yeah, and I think that he deserves to be paid off at WrestleMania. Like, I think that would be a great culmination of the year he's had, his post Bloodline. I think
all the stuff he did in Bloodline.
Gunther,
his whole thing has really started from the Bloodline, where he was like the outcast character who was kind of defiant to Roman and the whole situation.
The one that accepted Sami in.
Yeah, you know, so like it started building there, and then like what he's done since the fallout, you know, with all that. I mean, I was in an event I talk about all the time, the one I went to in Maine, and he was so over in that building. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah. And this whole Yeet movement and the crowd reaction everywhere he goes. We're watching it on the screen right now, him and McAfee doing the Yeet. It's like, he is by far, I think, if you're going by the person that wins the Rumble, if you're going by popularity and a realistic chance to win the belt at WrestleMania, and I think he does have that against Gunther, I think it's the right guy. It was the right call. Well, Cena would not have been the right call.
No. And it's a great story they can tell. Like, already what Gunther's been doing and dismissing of Jey, that, you know, you're just a tag team. You don't belong in this world. Like, you're with the little guy. Like, they can really do this David and Goliath type thing where, I mean, it's typical WWE story. It will pay off big if it happens. Yeah, like, how is little Jey Uso going to battle the Ring General?
Who Gunther gave one of his best promos I've seen in a long time on Raw this past week with guys like Seth in the ring, CM Punk in the ring. I thought that he basically got away from that dismissive character that he was against Damian Priest that we
that little weak ass shit they were doing with
in this podcast, how dumb it was.
Yep.
But I think that Jay Gunther is definitely your first match on the card, and if I'm WWE, I'm down. I'm setting that up Monday night. First off, Jey Uso.
Yeah,
coming
let's
out.
build this bitch for 2 months and really
Yeah,
have
because there's
good...
no reason, and then make something around Cody's belt for Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Make a number one contenders match, or even make Cody defend it in the Elimination Chamber. That belt hasn't been defended in the Elimination Chamber in forever.
Yeah.
Not that belt.
Right.
Maybe the other one that Seth had, but make someone earn that title shot, because right now it seems like Roman, CM Punk, and Seth are now going to be...
They're definitely going to be pissed at each other.
In their own situation. Cody destroys Kevin Owens in the ladder match.
Loses his shit.
Sammy's
down there.
Where does Cody stand for WrestleMania? Because it doesn't make sense for Jay to pick Cody, and we didn't get the return of Randy Orton that we thought last night.
Do we take now where we've talked about, like, this just kind of popped into my head, heel turn with Cody, where KO gets the sympathy. Randy does finally come back and is like, you've lost it. KO broke you.
Yeah.
Like, you're acting like a crazy man. Like, do we go to see a crazy Cody right now? Because, like, they even said it. Everything Michael Cole says is a big deal. And he said, Cody's completely lost his mind when he was beating the piss out of him.
Yeah.
He bloodied him up and then broke him through the ladder. And Sammy's sitting there watching it, like, almost about to cry.
And where does Sammy go into this whole thing? Like, he just went out there. His presence in the Rumble didn't really mean a whole lot. But his presence in that championship match...
There's something going to go.
Not that he got involved, but he was very concerned about Kevin Owens, who's supposed to be the number one heel. And I've been speaking for months since we started this podcast to how I am ready for the Cody change.
Yeah.
I am done with his shtick. It's the same thing over and over. You know he's not going to lose, and when that happens... then that becomes a stale situation, and I don't
the
like
beauty about KO and why I love him is the mind games he plays with the guys he's in promos.
His shirts that he was wearing,
he broke Cody.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Maybe this is like maybe not a complete heel turn for Cody, but that a different side to him. And KO, if you actually listen to what KO says every week against Cody and the reasonings why he feels betrayed, it makes a lot of sense. Does. So it's like, KO's not necessarily the heel in this thing either.
Yeah.
I mean, he's painted to be.
In the fans' eyes, he's supposed to be the heel, but if you look at...
But smart wrestling, if you're listening to what's really going on...
If you listen to the words of what's happening...
And how bad Roman was to everybody. I mean, even Seth says it to Sammy all the time. Yeah. You guys are siding with the enemy. Like, before long, Reigns is taking everything over again. Yeah. And you guys are going to help him do it, and he's going to treat you like shit. So, like, I don't know. This could be good. This could, if they do this right.
I think that there was a lot of potential from last night's Royal Rumble that we didn't see. I know KT always says I get myself worked up, and when it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But, like, I thought, like, for instance, when Izawa came out and got hurt, I thought that they could have played that up to... there's only 29 people in the Rumble. Who's number 30? And that could have been the Rock moment that everybody had talked about. But instead, they give the spot to a streamer, iSpeed or whatever, who got absolutely destroyed. I mean, I was thinking to myself, and we were watching it, I said, Braun Breaker, like, that is not a wrestler, dude. He's just a normal person, and he
hit him with one of the hardest spears.
Destroyed him because the kid probably weighed 150 pounds, and he has no wrestling experience.
He got blindsided. Yeah, he wasn't even looking for it. KT, I'm sure he knew the moment was coming.
But boy, Braun Breaker. I mean, I don't see it either. I'm not a fan.
I get it. I get why people like him. He's a Goldberg type of guy. I just personally don't like that style of wrestler. It's impressive. Some of the stuff he does is I'm not taking anything away from him. He's talented.
Yeah.
I loved his dad and his uncle, the Steiner brothers, like back in the day, were great. But I don't know. His character's not. I guess he's just not at the level.
He's very.
He's green. He's still very
green, and he reminds me a lot of Ryback.
Yeah, and I can give a shit about those
Ryback
guys.
was there during a time when WWE was struggling. And they didn't really have top talent. This was before, Seth emerged and all these people emerged. And like, I'm just, I hope that they let Sheamus win that Intercontinental belt at WrestleMania.
I would like Braun better if he was just a normal character. The whole I'm in my wrestling gear and singlet and all that stuff. Like, have him come out like a dude and be a dude. And maybe he's not ready on the mic yet, which you can tell he's not. So I get where he's at in his development, and I'll probably change my mind about him down the road. But right now, he's nothing that gets me like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see him.
And then like another
great matches.
Another nothing appearance last night was Shinsuke.
What happened with Braun though? Something kind of got set up in his direction. Who eliminated him? It was with the Braun Strowman thing, right?
Oh yeah, it was Strowman, and then
so much shit happened in those matches last night.
I still think that you need Sheamus and Braun at WrestleMania. I mean, I think Sheamus deserves to win that last belt of his career. It's the only belt he's never won.
Yeah.
Let him win it. You didn't let him win it at the main event. And
those are two guys that make sense to have a thing for.
Yeah. Sheamus can work with a dude like him. He's already done it with Ludwig.
It'd be a good physical match. I love Ludwig. He wasn't so hot last night.
He was in and out. We thought he broke Santino's record for a minute, but Santino's was so quick. There's no way.
That always says something, though, about that one guy who has that moment in every Royal Rumble. Like that there's something else coming for them.
Ludwig, I think, is a future star that, and now his wife/girlfriend is a champion. So, they are going to be the it couple or whatever. But Ludwig, I think, he's kind of separated himself from Gunther, which is probably good. And I think that there's possibility of something nice with him, I hope.
Yep.
I mean, I think he's very talented. He keeps losing to Sheamus, though. He's got to win one of those. And maybe...
Even getting eliminated in his spot last night. Did it perfect. That's exactly what they want you to do. He played it right. He was pissed when he lost. It was just just a good spot for him. It was a quick spot, but it was, it's a memorable one.
We're talking about it.
Yeah,
there's other guys that were in the ring that we're not going to talk
about the record there, and they even mentioned it on the broadcast last night. Wasn't quite it.
Santino's was so quick. I mean, a lot of Santino's elimination depended on Kane. Kane being in the right spot to be able to throw him out immediately. There's a lot. And and Santino's talked about it, how he discussed it in the back with Vince, can we go for the record? If I'm going out quick, can we go for the record? And Vince said, give it a shot. And Kane...
And that sparked his kind of thing.
And, Santino is so funny.
Yeah,
he's so awesome. Funny. And now he's kind of brought that humor to being the leader of TNA and whatever they call him, the director of and he wears the badge. And
is that where he is?
Oh, yeah. He runs he's like the general manager on TNA, but they don't call him the general manager. He's like the I can't think of it on the top of my head.
The director of pro scouting.
He's like director of... it's like a law enforcement theme. And he wears the badge, and he's pretty good. I mean, he's Santino. He's hilarious. He's always been hilarious his whole career.
Yeah.
John Cena. But what to go back into the eliminations, I know we're kind of branching all over the place, but I think everybody on the planet thought that John Cena was going to win, including myself, to the point where I had to walk out of the room because I didn't want to see it. John Cena did not need to win the Royal Rumble.
No.
Just because it's somebody's last Royal Rumble doesn't mean need to win. But I thought that they set up something perfect with the potential Cena-Logan Paul at WrestleMania. I thought that's a perfect opponent for Cena.
Yep, it really is.
I mean, because, Logan Paul being the heel, Cena is now going to be the face, and Cena can carry that story. Not that Logan Paul is bad by any means, because he's probably more talented than we ever could imagine. But I just think that Cena, Logan Paul at WrestleMania could be really good.
Yeah, and I honestly think Cena's last run, I don't even think it's about a title. I think it's just about him working.
They keep talking about this winning the 17th belt.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think for him, I don't think it is. I think he's here to put people over and work with different guys. And if they do this with the Logan Paul, what a great thing for him.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as these guys, especially someone like Cena who respects, that dude respects the business so much.
And you can tell that he doesn't have it physically in the ring anymore.
No.
Yeah, he's old. I mean, these guys get old. They age.
And
they can't be the guy that, You're not going to see the Cena that
Isn't Cena like close to 50?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, you're not going to see the Cena that feuded with Randy Orton. You're not going to see the Cena that feuded with AJ Styles. Like, those are days of past. You can tell when he takes off his shirt, he doesn't even have the mass anymore. Like, he's
still ripped. He's just a lot smaller than he used to.
And
be.
He's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna put that effort in to become as ripped as The Rock is.
I don't think he's probably working a full schedule this year either.
No, I mean how could he?
I think he'll be there every other week. Maybe
he'll be here for a little bit up until WrestleMania. I mean, we're only 2 months away from WrestleMania. Now we build up to Elimination Chamber.
I'm not saying he can't win the belt in this last run, but I don't think you do it at WrestleMania. That's for other people.
What do you let him?
Those are for people that are coming up in the business. That's like your Jey moment or whoever.
You let him win it and then give it right back. I mean,
does it have to be Cody's belt? Can it be Jay's belt? Can he get into something with Jay after the fact? Or who knows?
I mean, people say Ric Flair won 16 world champions. He did, but they weren't all WWE championships. They were NWA champion, WCW champion. And that's why, like, everybody says Cena already has the record.
Yeah.
16 WWE championships, not NWA. Nothing against, obviously, Ric Flair's the GOAT.
Right.
But he won. He existed outside of the WWE because of the
different era,
the industry,
different
the
era,
territories,
different times, the beginning, basically.
Yeah. So it's like, Cena, Logan Paul certainly progressed that direction. I think the most intriguing part of the night was the Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk.
Very interesting to see where that.
And then elimination was very weird, but I think Seth snapping like he did kind of took that away, and then to let it was Logan Paul that eliminated CM Punk.
Yes.
Yeah. So Seth Rollins wasn't the guy that took the main event opportunity away from him. So I don't know if that's something, like, I don't even know if CM Punk would want to do anything with Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Like, I think that he's really going to be tied in. The way Seth Rollins acted after it and tied those three together.
That's the what.
Logan Paul, like, I even had to think.
We could be having a triple threat at WrestleMania between Punk, Rollins, and Reigns. And
that's why we even said, I even had to remind myself who eliminated CM Punk. So that's how unaffected I was by it.
Yeah, I mean, this is grudge match time. Rollins has been waiting to get his hands on Reigns forever. I mean, even the moment in the match last night when it was just those two, when everyone else was kind of knocked out. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, you could just feel like we haven't really seen those two.
Yeah, I mean, we thought that we were going to be paid off on the favor last night.
Yeah, I really thought there was a moment for my dream ending of it would have been is for Punk and Reigns to have been the last two, even if Rollins is there or Cena or whoever, they eliminate and then the favor comes and it's Reigns having to lay down for Punk.
Yeah.
I just would have. They couldn't do that, but it was like, what a way to like.
There was a lot of possibilities last night, and I'm sure that producing a Royal Rumble is not easy.
Oh fuck! Like, I can't imagine having to have all those spots.
You have to have spots.
You have to give everybody their moment. And,
yeah.
I mean, the women's match really did that because every woman that came in had a 15-second run of all her moves, and then it.
And the guys,
it was like repeat. It was repeat. Every number that came in, it was the same thing.
At one point in the beginning, it was Chad Gable and 4 luchador wrestlers. At one point, I think it was Andrade.
Oh, and they did the same moment that they did in the women's match, where all 4 went over.
Yeah,
and then they came back in.
So it's like I can't imagine what it's like to set that up and who's supposed to eliminate who, and things happen in the ring. So I mean, it's got to be very, very difficult. Obviously, they have a winner that's supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. But like that's why I read some things about how Drew was upset because he complained that I guess he complained about a certain person getting a bunch of his shit in and kind of ruined his elimination. I don't know who he's talking about, but it's Drew. I don't know if it's character.
He's like
Drew
the big
whines about
now.
Everything.
And that could have been it. He could have been working.
Yeah, where does Drew go from here? Like, what's next on the horizon?
Last night we were talking like Priest, but they've already done that.
Yeah, and Sammy isn't going to... I don't think it's going to be Sammy because Sammy seems to now be kind of tied to Cody in a way.
Right. He's definitely part of that.
The one thing that did glare out yesterday is there was really no bloodline presence. I mean, bloodline the guys were there.
Yeah.
But there was no like
talk of it.
Bloodline.
Yeah.
It sounds like Solo's good. And Solo must be out for a while.
Probably.
Because if he is still relevant, there's no way he doesn't come in and eliminate Roman. Mm-hmm. So him not being there last night said a lot of things about whether he's hurt or they're just giving the guy time off because he did carry that story.
Plus, like you say, Fatu is a rising star on his own.
I mean, Fatu and Braun is cool. I mean, also, who else was Fatu face-to-face with, which I thought was awesome?
Braun, right? Was that the other one I was thinking of?
Yeah, Braun, Breaker, yeah.
That was what I was trying to think of.
And then him and Damian could have something, too. They had a little run-in on Monday night. I don't think their paths really crossed in the Rumble. But Jacob Fatu is, I think, a budding superstar, man.
And he's over with the fans, too.
Yeah. I mean, he's still a heel, but I really think that there's possibility of something big. There wasn't any crazy spots. Like in the past, the Logan Paul, Ricochet, and all that type of craziness. I mean, Logan Paul did jump to the announcer table and then jump back to the steps. So you always have one of those
playing
situations.
in perfect heel form. Like I'm smarter than everyone in here.
Logan's great, man.
He is, dude. He's good. I do think you're right. I think him and Cena would really go good together.
Yeah, I mean, I think last night painted a lot of pictures. I think now they have to turn their attention to Elimination Chamber. Are they going to put it around the belt? Is it going to become a number one contenders for the belt? Who's going to be in that match? Is it going to be separated by show? Like what is going to happen when it comes to that? Like who are the players?
Elimination Chamber basically sets up the other belts main event for WrestleMania, right?
It has in the past, but they've also defended the belt in the Elimination
Right, I
Chamber.
know they've done that before too, but as of lately, it's a lot of times been
so it's like
whoever wins the Rumble picks their person, and then it's usually
so if Jey Uso picks Gunther, then
winner's obviously probably going to be.
Then it's the number one versus Cody, and then who are the 5 guys or 6 guys that are in the match?
I'd imagine KO, Orton, Sammy,
Randy. Oh, you said Orton, yeah, Sammy. Yeah,
KO.
Damian. I mean, it'll probably be...
Drew.
Yeah.
That's where you can put those guys for the next month.
Yeah.
And
then
it builds from there, from that thing for that belt. You can start the build up with Jay and Gunther right now. You've got 2 months to tell that story. And then when Elimination Chamber happens, you build that belt story. And hopefully it's a continuation of the KO, Randy, Cody, Sammy thing. If... that's the way they go with it.
I mean, it was...
Damian feels like as that rise he had, almost feels like left out to nowhere right now, I feel like.
Yeah, that's why I thought, like, Monday night, him against Fatu was interesting.
He was one you could have seen maybe winning last night, but it wasn't in the cards at all, really.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about, the men's Royal Rumble match. The women's Royal match might have been a little bit more exciting than the men's match. I mean, Alexa Bliss's return, which obviously the internet
I think the women's match actually had a lot of nice moments.
The internet threw everybody for a loop and said they weren't even close to a deal, and here she shows up. Maybe they weren't, and it was a 12th hour type situation. Is she going to be involved with the Wyatt Six? Does the Wyatt Six even exist anymore? I don't know. We haven't seen them in forever. Alexa Bliss did come out with the doll. Where does she? I mean, she didn't stay in very long. Who knows? Maybe she's not in wrestling shape. Trish Stratus showed up. I told Kenny. I hate wasted entrance. I know you love Trish.
They always have a nostalgia.
Yeah. A lot of NXT women. A big pop for Jordynne Grace. TNA, she was in last year's Royal Rumble too, but big disappointment. No Jade, no Becky, no AJ Lee. We got to learn more about Roxanne Perez. If you're not an NXT person, Roxanne Perez is I believe she's the youngest woman that's ever won the belt over there. She's very young, but they obviously love her.
Yeah.
Julia came in
and
late.
And lasting that whole time.
Yeah. Julia was there, the champion. A lot of people got some recognitions, and and then there's people that you're just like wasted spots, like Shayna Baszler. Come on, Natalia. Like, I know that they're just. I mean, you've got so many women now. I mean, it's, and then when Charlotte came out, we all knew Charlotte was there, and then as the match progressed, you're like, she's gonna win.
She hasn't been here in a while.
And Charlotte.
Who do you think she's going after?
It's got to be Rhea. But I wouldn't mind. They've done the Rhea thing.
Yeah.
But Rhea wasn't as big as she is now.
Right.
But I wouldn't mind seeing Charlotte and Tiffany.
Yeah.
Like.
But no, I think you're right. I think right now Rhea is probably the one she's going to go after.
Yeah, but I mean, Charlotte, she obviously physically looks different. She looks very She looked very skinny last night. One of the things that always put her above everybody else was her build. And that build, like the build that Rhea has, she's built.
Yeah. Was Charlotte out for a knee?
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah.
So I mean, I thought the women's match, I think, had some better action. It's a little bit obviously more surprising than the men's. I mean, the men's, you had Joe Hendry, but I think everybody expected Joe Hendry to be there. I thought we might even see a little Nick Nemeth.
He got a huge pop, man.
Yeah, I mean, he is so over, and that's why he's TNA champion. And I thought Nick Nemeth, the old Dolph Ziggler, I think he did a great job in putting. I mean, this whole story happened, in our 2-week hiatus that we took, TNA took a meteoric rise in a short time. Had the relationship with WWE. So now you're going to see it's not all of WWE, it's mainly NXT, and we've already seen NXT people go. Genesis was probably one of the most anticipated pay-per-views from TNA in a long time. Yeah. I mean, Joe Hendry versus Nick Nemeth, and Hendry wins the belt. You had Josh Alexander versus Santana, which was a phenomenal match, I quit match, and then Josh Alexander comes up and says, I quit TNA. I mean, he's been the face of TNA, the Northern Armory, like all this. And then obviously he didn't quit because he showed up the next night, and now him and Eric Young are going to be fighting someone else. And so I think it was just, and he got attacked by his guys that were in the Northern Armory with him. So Josh Alexander is a face of TNA. He's been a face, but that was fantastic. But then the whole night was focused around, Joe Hendry.
Yeah.
And then the first ever live show, I think since 2018, they had a live, just regular show. And Hendry defended his belt against Matt Cardona. That came out of nowhere. And then JBL Bradshaw helped Hendry win that match, which I still don't understand the relationship with Layfield in TNA. It's kind of, he comes in and he helps Hendry out all the time and doesn't really say anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is.
I got to start finding TNA and watching it.
It's Access TV, man.
Yeah, I don't have regular cable because they cut the cord and everything. I got to get things back, but I can find it on YouTube or whatever.
I think TNA is number 2 right now behind the WWE.
Yeah.
I think that AEW...
Well, it shows they're doing something if WWE wants to work with them.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does. I mean, I think that's a big statement saying, hey, there's good stuff going on over there, and we want to poach some of that talent.
Yeah.
Especially like you said within the NXT world. Like, why not let those guys go back and forth?
And that's with the WWE ID program, like letting these guys. And what we saw last night, it was a preview for WWE Evolve. Evolve used to be an independent company that WWE purchased a while ago, and now they're getting their own show on. I don't even remember what it was. If it was Peacock or
I think
Peacock. Or no, Tubi.
Yeah, maybe Tubi.
Yeah. But like WWE's everywhere right now.
Yeah, Nick Khan and Triple H got that place fucking humming, man.
Yeah. And the big secret announcement, they surprised Triple H with his induction into the Hall of Fame. Cool, that was awesome. Like Shawn Michaels. How do you surprise the guy that runs
the show? Like you said, he's in DX, with DX, but
by himself. Yeah,
now he's going to be officially.
And then you have other matches last night. The tag match was just okay.
Yeah, 2 out of 3
DIY. Yeah, falls. It was uneventful. That was like kind of what I call.
Even the pins were like spot pins. Yeah. I'm sure they only had a certain time. It's like with that big event, the 2 Rumbles take up so much of the time.
Yeah, you got. I think you even mentioned it last night.
And I felt like the women's match went really long.
We even mentioned it last night, 4.5 hours.
Yeah. But it felt like the women's match was a really long match, and then like maybe those next two had to be, and the ladder match was going to be long just because the ladder matches have to be. So the tag match, I mean, even the first pinfall was just like came out of nowhere.
Yeah, how about?
But the Street Profits showing up too.
Showed up. You know what was
which is cool. So they got a direction now there.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of Motor City Machine Guns are kind of hung out to dry now.
That's all right.
But like the one thing that bugs me when you have these big pay-per-views, like how does somebody like Rhea Ripley not on the card?
Yeah.
Like last night you had no Rhea Ripley. I mean, you don't
have her come down and even just be at the table with McAfee and
like she's one
Cole.
of your biggest woman stars and she's not even on the show.
And have like her just
this is one of your 4 bigs pay-per-views.
And they do that all the time with
yeah, but
with wrestlers coming and just sitting sitting at the table and just being involved in the match some way or another.
Even both women's champions were not on the show last night.
Yeah.
At all.
And maybe they were just putting over the other.
Why aren't those two out as guest commentary? Like you said, like they are your superstars in the women's division.
Because then you can even have one of the ladies in the match in the Rumble even call them out. You could set things up that way going further.
How about Charlotte standing in the ring and both of them come into the ring?
Yeah. Who are you going to choose?
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Like
have Rhea's music hit. No, have Tiffy's music hit. Like she's coming down to she never really worked with Charlotte, hasn't been around for Charlotte, and then Rhea's music hit. Oh, that place would have went fucking nuts, dude.
But Rhea and Tiffany no shows.
Yeah.
Not no shows, but not on the card, not even an appearance.
Yeah.
It's one of your 4 PLEs. If they're not wrestling, at least have them,
same thing. You could have had Gunther at the table during the men's Rumble. You didn't have to have Cody because Cody just went through his shit, but I mean, obviously, Gunther, if you're going to have Jey win,
3 of the 4 major champions.
You could have Gunther talking shit about Jey Uso all night. Oh, he's not going to win it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you had 3 of the 4 champions not on the show last night.
Yeah.
Not even appeared.
Yeah.
I mean, and all your secondary belts were in the Rumble. Braun, Shinsuke, Chelsea.
Do we even know where the rosters stand right now with the portals? Is it still going?
The only thing that's
when's the draft? When's the draft happening, Jay? Is that in March?
The NFL draft, yeah. The only thing that really that I've noticed was Damian Priest now being on SmackDown. That's the one thing that they've said. Oh, the transfer portal, all that stuff. But it's like I don't know
what champions are going to be on which show.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no telling, how they're going to start Monday night. I mean, hopefully they do the Jey Uso's first out. Let's get the Gunther match set, and let's get our first match.
Like, what show is Roman on? Because SmackDown was his show.
He's supposed to be on Netflix now.
You know what I mean?
Swapped. Like, all the big acts are now on Netflix.
Yeah, because SmackDown became the premier show, but now with Netflix going to Raw, that's retaken.
Yeah. That's the show now.
That's the show now.
Because SmackDown now feels like...
But Cody's SmackDown?
Yeah. So now SmackDown feels like the way it used to feel, like an afterthought.
Yeah.
Like when it was on...
Basic bitch.
Yeah, when it was on Friday nights before the switch to Fox, it felt like the afterthought. Nobody watched it. Everybody watched Raw. And now Raw being on Netflix, that's the show. That's the show.
Yep.
And that's where they're CM Punk, Seth, they're all on Raw.
Gunther.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Rhea.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, as far as all the matches go last night, that was pretty much it. I mean, there was the 2 Royal Rumble matches and 2 matches outside of it.
Yep.
I'm so glad that Jey won over Cena. Look at Roman throwing out Hendry.
It was a good Rumble. It wasn't anything...
The double feet hit by Penta.
Anything that was like special. Seeing AJ come back was cool. AJ Styles.
Yeah.
I always like when AJ's around. He's another one. Like you can put it in a thing with anybody and run. Thinking of other ones. Anything happened with like LA Knight and I can't remember.
Yeah, like
his spot in the.
Yeah.
I know there was a spot like that could go forward with him with somebody, but I don't really quite remember.
Yeah, there was a lot of action going on. The individual things. I was trying to find an elimination post where it showed who eliminated who because there was certain times like
Nikki Bella came back.
Yeah, Nia Jax eliminated like 7 people at one time.
Yeah.
Like, that was a weird deal. But there's Cena putting Jey over, pointing to WrestleMania. But there are definitely some things moving forward. I mean, the Roman situation could be very good. I thought it was interesting that he was the one that threw out Joe Hendry.
Yeah.
But I think this was just a one and done Joe Hendry. I mean, he's going to carry TNA for a little bit.
But don't be surprised in a year or two you don't see him over here. If he keeps rising over that way he's rising.
Oh, yeah. But I'm glad they did. Like I said, I say this 100 times today. Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't have Cena.
No.
win.
Cena's doing exactly what he should be. I mean, even wearing the blue and white in Indy. I mean, it's, seeing the guy, that didn't dawn on me last night, but watching it now, I'm like, oh, he looks like he's got the Colts jersey on, but it's his shirt with blue and white.
The U is the horseshoe.
Yeah.
But other things, kind of switching gears into some of the other companies. I know we touched on TNA that happened since our hiatus. AEW had a massive return with Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
They had a good Dynamite, and they told a pretty quick story that probably could have lasted a long time. But the joining forces of Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, I thought that was something we would never see. But they're uniting together to take out the Don Callis family. I thought that was very interesting. That Omega not agreed, but it kind of organically happened, which I thought could have been told over a longer period of time, and they did it in about 20 minutes on Dynamite. But now you have the big Grand Slam Sydney show coming up down in Australia. The Death Riders are going. Jeff Jarrett wins the number one contendership. Some people don't understand the direction of that going in because of Adam Copeland's return. And now you have Moxley that's going to have to defend. And then, you have your Ospreay versus the Callis family and Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher. Yeah. So that's going to be, and Australian too. I mean, that's going to be huge. I think it's at the Australian Open venue.
Really?
Like where they do the U.S. Open one, where they do it in Arthur Ashe Stadium. I think they're doing it down there. That's cool. Yeah.
I think with AEW, like we've always, like you said since the beginning, it's like, and I think we've talked about it on here, it's like every time they have good stuff going, they just seem to get in their own way.
Yeah, and it goes back to the thing we always talk about, how it's you let the wrestlers have too much control, and it's what killed WCW.
Yeah,
and I feel like
I've heard Cody say that's why he left again. I mean, not the only reason why, but what was going on there just wasn't what he envisioned when they started, and everybody wanted to take credit and claim for what was going on,
and when they first came out, I think everybody was so thirsty for an alternative. Mm-hmm. And in the very beginning, that's what you got.
And they had some.
I watched a clip the other day of what the first night when Moxley appeared and Jericho and Omega had their match, and that was on an unbelievable night in wrestling history. And then the first year, I think, really got everybody's attention. Obviously, the COVID hit, which certainly challenged a lot of things.
Challenged WWE.
I think AEW might have done the COVID thing the best because they had the wrestlers in the crowd to give it some kind of crowd, where WWE went with the wall of cameras or whatever.
Which ended up turning into a big...
Yeah.
Actually, like, you got used to it kind of thing.
Yeah. But. Like, going back and looking, I was watching some...
and you think, too, some big stuff happened when they were having to deal with those kind of shows.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the whole Roman thing, like, the tribal chief, didn't that happen in that timeline? Like,
well, the origins of the bloodline started, like, I don't think they acted as the bloodline, but they were starting to tell that Heyman story. Like, yeah. I mean, that was Drew beat Brock at WrestleMania in front of nobody. I mean, that was a tough thing to watch.
Yeah.
But that we say this over and over again, and that's why we do this podcast over again, is wrestling is in such a good spot right now with every company. We now
got
are
talent
in
everywhere.
full-on WrestleMania season. It starts Monday night, tomorrow night. Hopefully we get Jey Uso's decision, where he's going, what belt, and we start to paint the picture of Elimination Chamber and start to paint the picture of, like I could see you starting to announce the Cena Logan Paul if that's the direction that they're going to go in.
Yeah. That'd be great if it happens tomorrow night. Start
Yeah.
right away.
You have 2 months to
have
tell
Cena
it.
come out. Cena will couldn't do it. He'll give his rah-rah.
And then you hit the Maverick song.
And then you hit Logan's music. That would be cool. And what those two could do on the mics against each other. Mm-hmm. And I think the match will end up being good as well because Logan seems to put everything into it. And
you've got a lot to tell.
But you could really do some shit with Cena talking smack to Logan.
Yeah.
Logan being the internet, the biggest influence.
Yeah.
It could be a cool
You
game.
got an opportunity. Like Monday night, there's a lot going on.
Monday should set everything
Like
up.
there is a lot going on with the Roman and Seth and I think
who leads? I mean, you got to have Jay lead off, right?
Yeah, like I was really surprised that we didn't see a Randy Orton return.
Yeah.
I was really surprised because I don't know if Randy Orton is actually really hurt or he's just taking the time off for the story. But if that was the case, why doesn't he come back last night?
Right.
Maybe he is hurt. I don't know. He's hurt a lot.
He's got. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's played. I'm sure it's both. He can't wrestle full time anymore because how beat up his body is. Like,
yeah, but I think last night. I mean, how does he not get involved with that match?
even if he's down there with if he was the one that's down there looking out for KO instead of Sammy.
It almost seems like Randy should have been in the Sammy spot.
Right.
And maybe that's why they had to pivot some things. I mean, there's no telling what happens backstage and what. But I was really surprised. The big surprises last night was no Randy Orton, no Becky, no AJ Lee. Cena, thank God, not winning.
Yep.
I thought it was just. I'm so glad that the WWE didn't do that because Cena. What do you do if Cena wins? Like, what would you have done? Put him up against Gunther? Like, I don't want to see Cena versus Gunther.
No.
Like, I don't want to see that. Like, Cena versus Logan Paul makes a lot more sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why a win like that would have been totally.
That's why let the Cena the Cena tour just be about putting young guys over.
Yeah, I mean, he can have his moments too.
Yeah.
But, like, him winning the Royal Rumble would have made zero sense. I know everybody hates it and all the online stuff is like, oh...
Well, I'm just wondering when everyone became a Cena fan again. Because
Yeah.
forever you guys...
I mean, last night they even started the Cena, let's go Cena sucks.
Yeah.
Like, there was no reason in the world for Cena to win that Royal Rumble. There's no future there.
No.
Like, I do not want Cena to have that much power.
No.
Like, Jey Uso deserves that spot, man. Mm-hmm. And he deserves to be paid off.
Yep.
He deserves to win that title at WrestleMania. Yeah. He has created his character for himself. He has separated himself, unlike his brother, who can't seem to do that.
Yep.
And Jay has clearly defined himself as an individual competitor. Jimmy just can't do it. Not that Jimmy's doing anything wrong. It's just, I think his brother now is so big that Jimmy will never be able to do it.
Certain people just have we've talked about this with the tag teams anyway. Like, there's always one that's going to have an individual success, like, as far as, like, a main player.
And something as stupid as Yeet has literally taken the WWE by storm.
Kids fucking love him. That means you're doing something really well. I mean,
Yep.
kids, he is like the new one for the kids.
You know, the we were talking about it last night as we watched it. And, you know, my wife was watching it. My daughter was watching it with us. And one of the things that I was talking about is you can really tell where people stand with the fans in a Royal Rumble. Because when the music hits, it's either dead quiet or there's a massive pop. And we already talked about the pops. Jey Uso,
And that could be boos, too.
John Cena. Yeah, boos are just as important. But John Cena, Dirty Dom, and Joe Hendry. Your biggest pops. And obviously Roman Reigns, I mean, when his music hit. But there was women in that match that it was birds chirping.
Yeah.
Like, that's, crickets.
And a lot of them just were unknown.
Yeah. But that's, partially on themselves too. When Alexa Bliss came out, it was epic. I mean, that was 2 years of not being on TV. Yeah. It's hard to believe that she's been gone for that long.
Yeah.
But those are the people that I almost, like, if I was an executive in WWE, I would use that Royal Rumble as my barometer of where my character stood. Oh man, this guy's getting zero reaction.
I'm sure they do, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a huge
and
deal.
then,
they don't miss anything, so. What I thought was so much fun last night was watching it with your daughter, and the 9-10-year-old, she's freaking calling things before they're even happening. It was so awesome. She's been watching this since she's a little kid, and she's not even like that into it, but what you realize is that she really is paying attention when they're watching, and like they understand the business. It's awesome.
And she listens to us a lot too. Yeah. So, but it was she was loving it last night. There's that poor guy. We're just looking at pictures of Speed after the match. I mean, that poor guy, he's got to have some kind of bodily damage this morning. Yeah. But I hope that's worth it for him.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully he gets something out of it.
His social media is gonna go through the roof.
I mean, he already is. That's why he's even out there. But, we thought possibly a Brock Lesnar return, but I guess Brock Lesnar's now been been named in the Vince McMahon lawsuit with the woman, so I don't think he's coming back anytime soon. No. He's got enough problems to deal with.
Yeah.
So, I thought Brock could have been a surprise last night.
Yeah. It would have been awesome.
But he may not be around for a while because he has been named in this lawsuit.
Yeah. What a mess.
Yeah, that's still a mess.
But yeah, we're getting down to the nitty gritty, man. We're here. Yeah. We're finally here.
That curb stomp that Seth gave Roman was so hard, dude.
And then he did another one on the stairs.
Yeah.
But Seth lost his shit. I think he's definitely going to be like heel turn. Yeah. He's coming for blood. This is where Logan goes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think Cena, Logan Paul for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. Uso. Weak elimination, but he wins.
Hey, win's a win.
But yeah, man. Well, KT, dude, it was good to be back, man. It's been 2 full weeks. Life, kids soccer tournaments. Like
you guys are all over the
I got another one next week, so I don't even know what next week upholds. But we wanted to get back. We have 2 weeks. We haven't really done anything. I mean, while we were gone, TikTok shut down. All this stuff shut down, so we're kind of, maybe it was a good thing that we weren't doing anything, but now we're back. Our content will be back out this week. Next thing leading up to, we'll get into Elimination Chamber. Couple weeks away from our local wrestling show, PWR has My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
Still waiting for matches to be announced for that card. We do see some Chris Carnage versus the Entitled Millennia. We don't know if they're going to fight, but they're both on the poster, so they both will be there, so that'll be interesting. So we're looking forward to that. The weather's really warming up here in Florida, so finally. Hopefully they get good weather for that night or that afternoon. Just kind of ready for WrestleMania season, man.
Yep, and we're here. We're right at the beginning of it.
Jey Uso.
Be interesting to see Monday night and a lot of stuff. We have a lot of stuff to talk about next week on the pod for sure.
Oh yeah, but we're happy to be back. We're sorry we missed you guys for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But hey, we're normal people.
We're middle aged and life gets in the fucking way sometimes.
We've got jobs, we've got kids. It's all sorts of stuff going on. So, but we're happy to be back. And what better to come back than our reactions for last night's Royal Rumble?
Hell yeah, man.
And we've obviously seen everybody online about what they're talking about and who's happy on who won, who should have won. Every Royal Rumble, who should have won,
everybody's got an opinion. Like assholes.
Yeah, everyone's got one. But thanks for joining. Check us out this week. We'll be back. All of our normal our handles will be going, and KT, in the great words of Jackie Moon.
Yeah, Lee, baby.
Everybody love everybody.
Love everybody.